Hello and welcome back. For this session, we'll be working by advancing this code a little bit more and importing a limited amount of characters for the user so that they don't just spam like the characters. Now, in order to make a max amount of characters, we'll want to use a while loop. So a while loop is basically it's a statement and it's called while loop because it basically repeats things over and over again. So let's do a while loop that checks for the length of name. And let's say while the length of name is greater than 10, then let's say if it prints slash showcase, it showcase that hey, you printed too many, not you printed, you typed too many characters. Right. Oh, let's do that. So this is, let's say, let's print, let's run this so that we can check this out. So our max characters is 10. So let's do something like, hello, I am over 10 characters. Print that. Then here, it runs into an infinite loop of hey, you typed too many characters. Now we don't want an infinite loop because that would just make the user probably not too happy, and it's also sort of annoying to just see like this repeated. So in order to make the while loop stop, we're gonna have to find a way to terminate it. All right, now that we put while we check the length of name and is greater than 10, it'll print hey, you have typed too many characters. Now if we run this, we'll figure that if you write anything like, let's say like, oi, if we write something like that, then it shows you that it has an infinite loop. Now the reason why it's doing this is because we went over the 10 max character amount. We went over 10 characters, and we don't necessarily want the user to have this. Like it'd probably be a bother and a bit annoying to have, hey, you typed too many characters over and over and over again. Now the way we can fix this is by having a breaking system so that once the user does go over 10 characters, then it breaks the loop and it tells you this. However, we can't do that just yet because we want the user to have another chance at redeeming themselves and typing the name. And the reason why we have the while loop is so that if they mess up again, then it keeps asking if they want to try again. So let's do that by using another variable, and let's call it a retry, since the user will be retrying over and over again. So retry will equals input, since we need their input, and then let's ask them, uh, would like to would you like to try again? Question mark, and then yes slash no. Now, in order for this not to be all cluttered up, let's use the slash n function, which what this does is basically it skips a line, kind of like this. Just makes the line go down. So let's make an if statement. So let's if statement will be something like if retry use the variable is equal to, which this is called like comparison operator. So what it does is that it checks whether anything on the other side is exactly the same as this. So let me show you real quick. So if retry is equals to yes, so if the user clicks yes, then it does something. However, before that, to show you what this does is if retry, which is whatever they put here, let's say they put yes, is equals to this, which is says yes, then it'll print whatever happens here. Now this just checks if this is exactly like this, and it's printed. Now the user could always type something like yes, or like we want it, yes. And since for this operator it has to be exactly the same as this, we kind of can't have the user to have anything like this. We can't have it write anything like that. So we'll be using something called the lower at the end, so that whenever the user types anything like yes, it will always be lowercase yes, so that we will always get this type of yes. So now that we have that, and if they say they do type yes, Then let's give them a second chance. And for this, let's have them write this code, which has the dot capitalized, which isn't capitalized. This should be lowercase. I apologize. What this does is it's the same as the lower, except anything that they type will have the first letter capitalized. And since we are dealing with name, every name is always capitalized, so that's why we want that there. Now that we have that, let's do an else statement. Let's say they don't want to try anymore. So in order for us to destroy the loop, we'll simply first you have to skip a line, and then we'll simply end the loop by putting exit there. And let's see, we'll end that there. And that is our first line of code that checks whether the user goes over 10 characters. Like this is the first line of code that has a user only be able to use 10 characters at max. And let's test it out really quickly. So our name, let's say our name is Jacob with a bunch of B's. Then it says, hey, you typed too many characters. You see, it's not giving us an infinite loop anymore. Would you like to try again? And then if we say yes, then it'll ask for a name again. Now, let's say we don't learn our lesson the first time and we still put Jacob like that. Then it repeats it on over and over again until you either put a name below 10 characters or you type something like no. And then after that, then it simply exits the code and it breaks the loop. And there you go. Now you have a backup system in case they answer no. And if they answer yes, then you can give them another try and continue. Now, we can do the same thing for ghosts, since ghosts is somewhat asking for the same thing. It's asking for a string. So what we do is we can copy this, and then we can Control C or just copy it. And then we go down a line, and then we print it. And then we have to make sure everything is aligned. All the lines are in the same place and everything. So for the ghost, let's simply switch the names real quick, the variables names. So now we have goals, and then for here, we have to do goals. And now for goals, we don't necessarily want it to be capitalized, since once we type a statement like this, it won't necessarily be capitalized since it won't be a new sentence. So we can switch this to something like lowercase, especially since we don't want the user to spam it all in capitalized. So we have lowercase. Now let's also change the question so that it asks for what are your goals. So let's change this so that it asks for what are your slow that down. What are your current slash future? It's all right. Now that we have all that, they both seem good. Let's move on to H. Now, the reason why H we can't just copy and paste this code is that when we ask for the H and we want to make a backup system, we're asking for anything that's not a number, since H is always a number, and we want H to be a number. You have to check whether it will be a number or not. So the way we can do that, now we could always print this so that the user doesn't go over amount when it comes to numbers. So the max somebody usually lives is around 100 years, not 1,000 so far. So we could still use this line of code by simply copying and pasting it. Make sure you check everything is aligned, and then switching this to H, and then this to H as well. And then we can ask, what is your H? And then for this, we don't necessarily have to keep anything lowercase because numbers don't have that. And let's keep it as long as H isn't greater than let's say 3. Okay, now that we've done all the work for these ones, let's start by checking slash making a backup system for the age. And what we're trying to accomplish here is checking where the user types in a number or a letter, since we want to type a number, not a letter. So to do that, let's start by printing by making a while loop and setting this to true. Oh, apologies. True. Now we do a column and we start like this. Now, uh, we set this to true to make the while loop start and keep on running, regardless of anything. So we don't like this one. We had to set this to this value, whether the length is greater than 10. For this, we simply just wanted to make it true so that it continues going. Now, this isn't exactly the position I want to make it. So it's actually right here. So let's put the while loop right here. And after that, let's check whether whether h is actually a number by using a function called dot is numeric. So if h dot is numeric, which basically just checks whether this is actually a number, um, then if it is numeric, then I'll have no issues and I'll just run for the goals. Now we have to indent this because it's out of line. And the way we do that is you can simply just press tab and it'll indent it for you. Or, oh, what did you say? Or you can simply highlight these and then click the tab uh, and it indents all of these all at once. Now, since there is an if statement here, we want to uh, indent this as well. Since every single time there's another colon, we want to indent it. So we indent the if statement, and from the if statement, we indent all of these. Now that we have all of that, we also want to indent the print function because we want the print function to be able to work if the age is correct. So what we want to do is we want to align this right here with the goal lines. So we do one indent and then two indents. And we want to make the backup system for whether the user doesn't say yes, like whether the user doesn't put a number and instead puts something like any characters. So to do that, we're going to have to make an else statement. And to make an else statement, we have to align it with the if. And what the else statement does is basically if h is non-numeric, well then, and then we can do whatever we want to next, like print hi, something like that. However, what we want to do here is tell the user something else by saying something like, hey, that is an invalid option. Please use a number time. All right, now that we have that, we want to give them another chance. So let's do the same thing that we did for this. Now that we told the user that it's not an invalid option and to use a number next time, let's give them another chance. And to do that, let's do the same thing by putting the retry variable once again and ask if they want to try again. So let's do that. And then let's give this a bottom line so that it doesn't go third up. So let's ask, would you like to try again? And then we put yes if they do that or no. All right, now that we have that, let's make an if statement. So let's ask whether if they if they do answer yes, this always make sure to have the colon at the end. Then let's ask them for the age again, so they have another try. And put the age, which asks what is your age. Right now that we have that, else if they do not answer yes, then we print understandable. Yep. Have Alrighty, now that we have that, since we did make a while loop to start right here, we want this to break. So now to do that, let's break here so that it breaks the loop, and then it just ends the code by saying understand, have a nice day. And for this, so that it doesn't continue after the while loop, if it's actually a number, then we can break this here as well. And now back. Let's recheck the code one more time. And apologies, in order to make it more clear, let's scroll up. So let's do a refresh. So what this is saying is that while we set the while loop to true, So everything repeats. If the age is a number, then everything goes as normal. It asks for the goals, and then it it prints the goals. It prints everything like the name, age, and goals, and it breaks. And then we have a fully successful code. Otherwise, if it's not that, then we print, hey, that's a valid option. Please use number next time. And we ask them if they want to try again. If yes, they try again and they continue where they left off by the question that says, what is your age? Otherwise, it ends the program and it says, understandable, have a nice day. And in order to test this out, we can just put a name by saying their name is Jacob and our age is 7. Now that, hey, that's too many characters. We're in 7. Would you like to try again? Yes. Now, what is our age? Let's do something else like W, right? And then it says, hey, that is an invalid option. Now, would you like to try again? If we say no, print understandable, have a nice day, and it ends the program. Now, let's skip a line so that it's more clear to see. And that is our backup system.